Hey gang, AV here, and welcome to my review of the Boss Fight Studios Vitruvian Hacks Vandar, the Wandering Warrior, aka the Barbarian. Here he is in the package. As you can see, it is a carded figure in collector-friendly packaging with these plastic flaps that fold over the card. You can see him and the vast majority of his accessories through the bubble. And you want to make sure that all the accessories are there when you get one, because it is possible to remove the figure, play with it, and then put it back. So you want to make sure nothing's missing. Anyhow, up here, you can see what HACS stands for, which is Highly Articulated Character Kit System. Down there is his name and his class, as well as the fact that it's an adult collectible. Some very good artwork on these figures, original artwork on the cards. I really do like that. Let's flip it around. And first thing you may notice is that we have a file card, which is very reminiscent to the G.I. Joe figures that came out in our youth. Around about the same size for the file card as the G.I. Joe file cards were. If you'd like to read it, feel free to pause the video and do so now. Alright, as I've said in previous videos, I am a huge fan of the fact that they include file cards on these packages. It gives the characters much more depth and just a whole new dimension to building your collection. I'm a very big fan of this. Here you can see other figures that are also available in subsequent waves. As I've said in previous videos, I actually have all of these, so stay tuned to my channel and you will gradually see these videos, these reviews for these figures popping up over the coming weeks. Let me see here. There he is right there. I have actually, he's the first one I've reviewed from these two waves, so there you are. Down here, we have a QR code, so you can download the app from your mobile phone store. And that's about it for the packaging. Let's bend this flap over, slide the card out a little bit so we can gain access to the figure itself. Move the trays and get this out of the way. We do have a couple things in the bag besides his figure stand and extra hands, so I will be opening this so I can show that stuff off. Now again, that tape just ripped that easily, so the fact that it is collector-friendly packaging and that you can remove the figure and then put it back in the packaging, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can keep it in the original condition as it was when you first opened it. Like I just said, just trying to open this bag, I ripped the tape. So it's the bagged items that you really have to watch out for. That's where some of your stuff may be missing, and that's also the hardest thing to put back in the package after you open these guys up. Anyway, here is his figure stand. It's a standard figure stand for all these figures. It's in flat black, and it is in the shape of the Boss Fight Studio logo. Has 2-foot pegs on it, and it works very well. You can see he comes with an extra set of hands. Now, this set of hands is hinged to go in and out. The set on the figure itself is designed to go up and down. They give you one set of each to enable you to have that many more posing options, and I love that about these figures. I love the fact that they do that. And here you have various little parts. These are to be used in association with his weapons, and I will get to these when the times are appropriate for that. Let's open up some of the accessories over here. example, we have his battle axe, which is very He-Man-esque, and I suppose it should be since he is a barbarian as well. Very, very cool. You may notice it's got a nub on the bottom here, and that is so that you can use this attachment here. Plug that on the bottom. Whoops. I believe this plugs on here. Yeah, I just got to give it a little bit more thing. There you go. And you can actually connect it to one of his other accessories. Like his sword, for example. So you can have a two-ended weapon. There you go. And you can do that with the other parts of his weapons too. Like, for example, he comes with this stick. I call it a stick. It's actually a handle. It's kind of a more rubbery plastic, and the reason for that is because he comes with this rather gnarly looking spiked ball, which has a hole in it right there, and use this two-ended plug. Put one end in the ball, the other end in here. Oh. I lost my, there we go. It's a little tight. I can get it in there, but it's fighting me. And not for nothing, but these spikes are just as sharp as they look. So it's actually cutting into my fingers a little bit, as you can see that. It's not the most pleasant thing to do, assembling this thing. But it is possible. And I guess I'll have to do it off camera. Because it is not cooperating with me right now. That being said, though, peg hole is still the same size as the end of the sword, so if you wanted to, you could connect it to the end of the sword. Or even the end of the axe, if you wished. It's a modular weapon system for this guy, and I thought that was kind of neat. You do have a lot of options. Oof, yeah, it's cutting in my fingers. Not to wuss out on you, but I want to keep the video moving too, so I don't want to mess with it any longer than I have to. He comes with two different helmets. Here is his stereotypical horned helmet for the Vikings. Very cool. And he has a non-horned helmet. Which has eye openings in it. And it's actually two-toned. It's silver and gold. And looks very cool. I like it a lot. And he has a second head sculpt. Let's pop that out of there and then release the figure itself so that we can have a look at the two of them both side by side. With the different helmets and the different head sculpts. And the modular weapons. It's pretty easy to army build these guys too if you so wished. Very cool. I'm a fan of the bearded one personally. The helmets will fit over this guy, or this guy if you remove his hair. Just so you know. And even though he's wearing a typical fur belt there with no other attachments, he does have some limited weapon storage. Basically what I like to do is I like to raise his chest armor up a tiny enough so that his peg hole in his back is close to the ring that holds it all together. And then I use this attachment here, plug that into his back, and the sword is now storable on his back. Now, I admit I'm not 100% certain what this ring is for. I believe I can get this in there. I'm really not sure what to do with it after that. Maybe it's for something else with a different figure that I haven't encountered yet. But I'm just not sure what else to do with that. If anybody else knows, feel free to leave it and let me know in the comments section, because I'd like to know. Weapon storage is a plus for me. I really like the fact that my figures can stow their weapons. It's a dimension of collecting these things that I think is overlooked a lot of times. Sometimes less is more, especially in regards to, I don't like it when a figure has too many weapons that I can't display them all with the figure itself. It just irks me. But it looks pretty good on his back, using it for that. Don't believe he can do much with this unless you just kind of wedge it back there. No. Alright. Anyhow, like you saw earlier, the hair is removable, and there is a notch back there so that you can interchange this with other hair pieces in the line, as well as certain helmets and whatnot. But most of the helmets fit regardless of whether or not there's a notch back there. The hair definitely does need the notch in every experience that I've had. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Just to demonstrate, he can hold his weapons, obviously. His hands are not rubbery plastic, but they do give enough for you to get the weapon in there, and it holds it nice and securely. So you can get them in there, no problem. Alright. Now, articulation. His head is on a barbell peg, which connects to a hole in his head and a hole in his neck. So he has 2 points of motion there. He can look up, down, do a full 360. He can tilt his head right and left, and he can also kind of move forward and back a little bit, as you can see, because he's got 2 points of contact. His arms do a full 360, can go up a good amount. There is nothing at the bicep. His arms, his elbows bend 90 degrees and down almost 90 degrees. They also do a full 360 spin there. His wrists, I touched on a little bit earlier, can do a full 360, and this set tilt up and down. The other set here tilt in and out, as I explained earlier. He does have an ab crunch, which is a ball joint, and it gives him a very good range of motion up there. Hidden behind his belt, he does have waist articulation, so he can move side to side without using that ab crunch ball joint. His hips can go out about that far. He can do the can about like that. He has double jointed knees, so he can bend his leg back about that far. He has an ankle joint, enabling him to spin 360 degrees, as well as angle back and angle forward. So very good articulation on this guy. As you can see, a very nice sculpt. And even though his outfit is very simplistic, he definitely looks like a barbarian would. So they accomplished what they were setting out for there. He looks very good, in my opinion, with the assortment of accessories and weapons, modular nature of his weapons. It is possible to army build this guy, which is always a plus. He can also stand on his own, which is something that I think most figures don't get enough credit for these days. Here he is next to a modern G.I. Joe figure, which is a standard 4-inch figure. Here he is next to a vintage G.I. Joe figure, which is 3 3/4 inches. As you can see, he is a 4-inch figure. He fits in much better with the modern era of figures as opposed to the vintage ones. I am a big fan of this figure. I do think he's worth picking up, and I do think that the amount of accessories he comes with, as well as the level of detail and articulation that he has, makes up for the $25 price that he has as well. So if you do feel like picking this guy up, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you've enjoyed this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.